Going live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Teacher Casey. Today, I am here with Kelly and Evelyn. Good morning, ladies.
Good
Morning.
morning.
Good morning. So, what are you guys up to this morning? Anything fun? Any good plans for today?
I just I slept in for me and ate breakfast and came here. So I didn't teach any classes. I have a haircut later. The rest of the day is just gonna be getting ready for company coming later in the week. So yeah.
Nice. Evelyn?
Saturdays are pretty chill for me. My mother-in-law's visiting, so she's gonna watch the kids because one of my kids is invited to a birthday party, but it's a gymnastics party, so like the other kids aren't invited. So my
Yeah.
mother-in-law's gonna watch them. I'm gonna go to the gymnastics party, and then I have one class in the evening to teach.
Oh, good. All
Yeah.
right. Hey, Stephanie. Good morning. So, ladies, really quick, shout out your channels. Well, you don't have to be quick, but shout out your channels and let them know where they can find you. It is already in the description box as well. So, Kelly, how about you?
Okay, so my channel is Teacher Kelly Tag. And that's the channel name. That's how you can find me. I do videos for in classroom and online teachers. I'm going to go live sometime today. I don't know what time to talk about some resources for upcoming election year. So look for that. Just whenever I have time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Evelyn?
Hello. My name is Evelyn Joy. Excuse me. And I make all sorts of different kinds of videos about whatever I'm up to. If I'm doing a DIY or if we're baking or cooking or doing something fun, we'll make a video of it, teaching online, gardening, whatever we're up to, we make little videos of it. We're doing advent calendars this year, so
Oh, fun. Yeah, I like that we can kind of get a glimpse on your channel of different things you do with your family. They're not like super long videos, like hours long and stuff. So you can just watch them read and stuff. It's super cute. So check out both their channels. And all right, let's get started on today's video, um, or today's topic. I thought this was interesting. I came across this post and I asked the ladies what their thoughts were. So all right, this is from a teacher. I caught a student playing video games rather than doing his work. Gave him a 0 and told him no, he couldn't make it up. Emailed mom, her reply, he didn't know what he was supposed to be doing. What time did you give directions? So, ugh. Okay, so then the teacher tells us I gave directions at the beginning of the class and like every 30 seconds after that, it was written on the board and it's the chapter and pages after the work we did yesterday and every day for 2 weeks now. So instead of the mom saying, I will handle it, or you're right, he shouldn't have a phone on playing video games in the classroom. Um, she just gave her child an excuse saying he didn't know. So I'm wondering your thoughts on it like makes the hairs on my arm stand up.
Yeah.
Kelly, you have been a middle school teacher. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on this?
Oh boy. So I can relate a lot to this. So phones were not allowed, but we did have Chromebooks, and the students would do their assignments on Chromebooks. That was an after COVID thing. And honestly, in middle school, you have 160 students, so the grading was so much easier if you could do like digital assignments. So we used the Chromebooks a lot, but then the problem was the kids would always have some other tab going where they were playing video games or doing something else. And
Mhm.
I would try to like walk around the class and we could literally see them, you know, tab down, or sometimes they didn't see you walking because they're so into their game and you had to say stuff multiple times. Unfortunately, in my school, we weren't allowed to give zeros for that kind of thing, but I do think the teachers justified and that would help the kid to learn, and the parent should be backing the teacher. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you know, and it's better that they learn this in middle school before they get to high school where the grades count for college.
Right.
So it was actually one of the biggest things I dealt with too, is that parents would always stick up for their kid or not back the teacher. And when, you have 160 kids, unlike elementary school that has between 25 to 30 usually, you need the parents back up. Like I had parents who would call parents and they say, well, I'm not at school. What do you want me to do about it? I felt like saying, I want you to punish your kid at home.
Right.
Work
Talk to them.
together. Yes. No, those are just my initial thoughts. I have so much more I could say, but I'm
Yeah.
going to give Evelyn a turn to talk.
Yeah. And Evelyn, I'm curious as a parent and as a teacher. So,
Well, I wonder if that parent had been in the classroom, if they would have had the same response. Because I feel like the kids kind of give them an excuse at home and they kind of don't really picture what situation's actually like for the teacher that's exasperated and tired of this happening and just kind of like, that's it, you get a 0, I'm over it. Like I'm dealing with this all day long type of thing,
but even the excuse of they didn't know what they should be doing, maybe raise
Oh,
your
yeah.
hand and ask. I mean, if I gave
Yeah.
my parent that excuse, my mom would be like, no, find another one.
Well, when I hear that they gave a 0, I'm like, ooh, it's unfortunate that the assignment got the score for the behavior, but at the same time, I feel like having worked in the public school, so I'm picturing it was 10 years ago. I worked in middle schools and high schools as a tutor, but I was glad I wasn't the main classroom teacher because all of the kids had iPads. And even though the iPads weren't supposed to have social media or games on it, they had hacked the system and figured out how to do it.
Oh yeah.
And the kids were not respectful in class and they did not pay attention to the teachers and they would have their iPads out even if the teachers said to put them away. Then when the teachers actually wanted to use the iPads for assignments, a lot of the kids didn't have it or they had broken theirs. It was just a nightmare giving every child their own personal iPad. It was, I think, schools have gotten wiser since then and keep them in the classroom and don't, maybe depending on the district. But anyway, it's so difficult to be a classroom teacher when the kids all have devices. And it's also difficult because public schools, like, they have so many rules, like you can't fail the students or you can't give them homework. Like they're making a lot of new rules. And then like if you send them to the principal office, the principal gives them a bag of chips and sends them back. It
Right.
just like it seems like the students reach a certain age that they realize there are no consequences for bad behavior and that every bad behavior is just rewarded. And so then the behavior problems get worse and more extreme and then kids get worse and worse. So outside of the context, hearing that she gave a 0 for it, I'm like, I don't know if I'd give a 0 for like playing a game, but then also like if you have your hands tied and there's very few punishments you can give out, it's kind of like, well, that might be the only thing she could have done,
Don't you feel like he must have, in my mind, I'm thinking he must have done this before. If he is comfortable playing a whole video game or just sitting there playing video games and not realizing she's noticing, I mean, I wonder if he's done it before. And like you said, she's tired of it. Or you said sometimes they can't send homework home. So is she stuck? Like, okay, now I got to wait a week for this and then I have to go back and grade it. And yeah, I don't know about that. So the 0 is kind of like, I don't know about, but we talked
And
about this. We talked about having phones in the classroom before, Kelly. I remember you talking about like, what if an emergency happened? So phones on their person or in their bags, I'm okay with because things happen. They need a ride home. Something happened. They need to check. Somebody just asked them if they wanted a ride and they need to see if it's all right or, but having them out in class, I get so frustrated because we are not babysitters. We are there to teach your child. And if they are on a video game or they are not doing what they're supposed to, why shouldn't we tell you as a parent? You know what I mean? If they said your kid was on the phone during class, I'd be like, take the phone. But
yeah. I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to say, so I think Evelyn, you had a good point about maybe a grade being punished for behavior. You're right about that. Like in the private school, we really try not to do that, make it separate. So maybe like a different punishment. But if also you could go by that teacher's rules, if your rule was that you need to finish the assignment by the end of class, or it's a 0 and you didn't do that, then that. But we had to take assignments up until the quarter was ending, which was really annoying because they could just turn it all in at the end. And then they'd be like, I made graded it. Well, you had all semester to do it and you weren't in a hurry to get it to me. I'm not going to be in a hurry to grade it.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Yeah. There was something. Oh, you said about emergencies. Okay. So I do have to say, as a parent, there were a few times when there was a lockdown at my kids' schools, and if I could text them and them text me back, just letting me know they're okay, it gave me a huge sense of peace. So, in the private school I worked at, they were supposed to leave their phones like in the cafeteria. That's where they kept their bags. But I told them as my own classroom rule, like, if you guys want to leave it in your bags, as long as it doesn't come out in class, you can, because I want your moms and dads to have peace of mind if something were to happen. But, using it when you're not supposed to, or having it out.
Yeah. There were teachers that got in trouble for taking phones that were out and kids were playing video games. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Go ahead, Evelyn.
Yeah. Okay. And then also I wanted to mention the perspective of the parent. So and my oldest child's 9, so I can't fully picture it, but public school, the kids are at school 5 days a week, most of the day, right? So you get your kids early in the morning trying to get them out of bed, and in the evening when they're exhausted. Middle schoolers are dealing with like puberty starting and hormones, and they've got bad attitudes. So it's hard for parents to be the disciplinarian for their child when they're trying to also be their friend or whatever, and not every parent's gonna get it right. So I don't know. And then on top of that, parents are working full time, and they're trying to like maintain some sort of relationship with their kids. I'm not making excuses for them. I'm just adding like kind of a layer to being a middle school parent is hard. I'm not there yet. And also I homeschool my elementary students, so I'm not there yet, but I'm trying to see, not making an excuse for them, but add a little perspective of maybe where that parent was coming from. Not saying I would say that if I was in their perspective, but yeah.
Right. But they could text you during lunch. They could text you in between classes. They don't need to be texting you in the middle of class if it's not an emergency. So we're talking about having the phone in the middle of class, in the middle of instruction. They can text you other times of the day. Yeah. But like, my kids' middle school had a rule, like the phones had to be in the backpack all day. Now in high school, they're allowed to have their phones, but my son does say, get mad at you if it's in the middle of instruction, rightfully so. So I think the parents should help the kids out by saying, by backing the teacher, if that's her or his rules that there are no phones in the class, then you should have your phone away unless there's an emergency, a lockdown, a active shooter or something, then please text me. But
and if you're not going to discipline your child for some of these things, you're going to be disciplining them all the time as they get older too, because it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, like I said, if it was they had their cell phone out and they texted their mom or something, but playing a video game, and then the mom's like, well, they didn't know what to do. Come on.
No, but Casey, they use that as an excuse. Like, I had a couple of kids ask me, hey, I need to text my mom real quick about something after school. It was fourth period. I would like to leave them. But then they all caught on, and like every time I found them on their phone, they'd be like, oh, I'm texting my mom. Okay.
Right.
You guys are lying.
You're all texting your mothers.
Yeah. So that gets
I would message the parent, say, wow, I hope that message that so-and-so got through to you, that so-and-so sent you got through at this time. Like,
a lot of work if you have 160 students.
I was just going to say, you're not going to do that for everybody.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that for everybody. But if you have a chronic student that you are worried about them using the phone inappropriate times during your instructions, you have to try something, or else you're never going to get that kid back around. You know what I mean? So that would be my thing, like, they're using their phone. Can you confirm it? And if the parent says, oh yeah, they messaged me, just covering for the kid, maybe when they get home, they'll be like, hey, off your phone. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
If
know.
you're covering for your kid to not get in trouble, then you're part of the problem, parent.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. I think that's kind of what this whole thing is about. Like, I kept asking Kelly, like, should we just talk about cell phones or talk about the parents not backing some of the teachers? Granted, not every teacher is where they need to be, or, I understand that. But if you go into some of these groups and see what the teachers are dealing with lately compared to what we dealt with before,
Mhm.
it's sad. Like, my kid got 5 wrong. Did you check it correctly? Well, let me check. And then they check and they're like, yeah, it's correct. Well, did you teach it correctly? Like, everybody else was fine. They had a note card that they could bring to class and didn't do their note card. Like, some of the things are on the kids. And I feel like before, if I did something wrong in school and my parents found out, they didn't say, oh, teacher, are you sure Casey did that? They were like, Casey, let's chat.
Right. And I do think a little bit, like, honestly, there were times I felt like my parents should have stuck up for me more. So maybe our generation is like overcompensating. Like, my parents did stick up for me enough. So they have gone to the other extreme, like, every little thing, or I'm going to make excuses for my kid. They should never get in trouble,
Yeah.
so that might be part of
I
it.
mean, I only got in trouble for talking too much, so they knew.
I think partly too, because of how the economy's going, a lot of households have both parents working full time.
Mhm.
And so we're seeing a generation of students that have pretty uninvolved parents. Like at parent teacher conferences, usually the ones with them that you want to have a conference with the parents the most, those are the ones that the parents don't come. And
Mm.
so we see like part of it's because of the economy, part of it's because of how our culture is going, um, but we're definitely seeing a major shift in behavior problems in the public schools that have had a huge uptick. And because of uh, the pandemic and everything that happened with the schools during that time, just me talking from people I know that are in the public schools still now, a lot of the grade levels are like 2 grades behind on knowledge of math and simple stuff, but the school system is still pushing the students along. So they're teaching them long division when the kids don't know simple addition and subtraction. And so the kids are really like lost. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but I'm saying that's an added issue that the schools are dealing with right now. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. I was gonna say something else, but I lost it. It'll come back.
I know. I was just thinking about what Evelyn was saying. I'm
Yeah.
processing that one, because I I I feel you on that, and I also feel like as a teacher, I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
it comes up from higher up than me on what I'm teaching. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can support the kids more, try to build a better foundation. But again, there's nothing I can do if they're at home and the parents aren't making them come to Zoom classes, or, I mean,
And in the
it's,
classroom too, it's hard for a teacher to teach all 30 or so students
Yep.
when some of them have behavior problems, some of them have learning disabilities, and some of them are bored because it's too easy for them. So they're on all different levels of the spectrum. And then maybe, let's say, for example, I have an autistic son. I can't imagine him being in middle school and being in the classroom trying to understand and then having kids with behavior problems just totally distracting him. Like
yeah,
that would be a major difficult situation for some students.
that's one of
Yeah.
my
And
favorite parts of teaching. I
oh,
love trying to hit all the students where they're at, but that's just my own challenge. And like, I love doing center time. If this group of, and it can be in different grades too. If this group of students are here for math, then I can take this group, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and there's different groupings so they don't know that they're in the lowest group, or you group them different all the time. So, yeah.
Center time is
yeah.
awesome. When I was an ELL aide, that's what I liked. I prefer being like an ELL aide or a tutor, so that I can work with those smaller groups because the classroom teacher that has to like meet everybody's needs, I feel like that's so much more difficult. I like working with the small groups a lot more. Yeah.
I'm the same, Evelyn. So yeah, that's one of the many reasons middle school wasn't for me, but mostly the behaviors. Because now my job, I'm in an inclusion class as a special education teacher. So there's another teacher who's teaching the whole class, and I'm working with smaller groups. And sometimes I work with kids one-on-one, and I like that's so much better, you know. And I started as an online teacher where you're either small group, like at out school, or one-on-one. So I'm with you. There are, if you want to be a classroom teacher, there are jobs out there where you can work with like smaller groups. But I wanted to say something, what you guys were talking about like all the kids. So it's harder as a middle school teacher because you do have 130 students. And then I believe in following students' IEPs, and now I'm a special education teacher. I've been a special education parent, so I really believe in following the IEPs. But when I was in the middle school and I had so many students, I found it harder. Not that I didn't want to do it, just a lot harder. And one kid in particular that I had trouble with implementing his IEP is because I had a lot of behavior problems in that class. It was like my worst class. And there was no para in that class because a lot of IEP students, they purposely put them in the class with the para. So I didn't have extra help. So just kind of try to understand the teacher's point of view if you know you are a parent and that's one of your issues. So
shout out to the military working for Dodds parent-teacher conferences, Evelyn. The military gave the parents time off to come to our conferences.
Awesome.
So they couldn't use that as, I mean, they might have had to change some dates or some times and stuff, but we had every parent come because they were given the time off. Well, I got goosebumps. Like, I just thought that was an amazing plus. So Stephanie said, parents need to hold their child accountable and stop placing blame on the teacher. Didn't do. Yeah. Kelly, I am also a special education teacher.
But I think that same parent, if they had been a fly on the wall when that situation happened, their response would not be the same. You know what I mean? If they had, because oftentimes students can be manipulative to their parents and say, Mom, I wasn't really playing a game. She just thought I was, and she didn't tell me what to do, and I was trying my best. But like in the situation, it's the opposite is happening. But she just gets an email from the teacher, and she gets this whole explanation that's not true from their child, and so then she's going to jump to defend her child. I'm not saying I would defend my child in that situation, but yeah.
I think if there was any excuse besides they didn't know what to do, so they were playing games. I think you're at school.
Yeah, like you're justifying what your kid did. Yeah. So same, like obviously that is your flesh and blood. You know, you have mama bear mode, so you're automatically going to, you know, believe your child first, but just try to take yourself out of the situation, be a little objective, and be open to the idea that your child might lie. Just
What?
Yeah, I know.
I think it can be handled differently too. Like, hey, my son said he was not sure what to do. Like, call up or
email.
Yeah, something.
During the pandemic, for the time that parents had to kind of be the teachers, a lot of parents' eyes were open to realize, like, oh, my child does have a major behavior problem, and I'm trying to get him to do this assignment, and he is being lazy, and maybe the teacher was right about this. So a lot of parents kind of like, ooh, maybe there was some stock in what that teacher was saying, you know?
Did you see that Facebook meme or whatever you call it? Was like, I think every parent should have to sign up for a day at their child's school like you do for jury duty. I've had parents leave my classroom or leave like a field trip and like, how do you do that? I have a whole new respect for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean. If they had been in the room, they would understand the situation better. But also, yeah, there's no reason for the excuses.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Any last minute thoughts on this? Because I think we could go on and on about this one, but I think you get our point. Check in with the teacher as parents, support. I think at the beginning of the year, and maybe this will help other teachers, I talk about at open house or during any time send newsletters home, like, we are a team. Let's get your child to succeed. And I think if you started off with, you and I are going to team, not team teach, but we're going to be a team. We're going to help your child together and just really show how passionate you are about helping their child. I think maybe you're building a rapport for future, even though you're sending that same email, that same newsletter, or whatever, to all of your student and parents, you know. But at the beginning of your packet, I know we always got them in middle school and high school from our teachers, for my kids when they were older. So I think you can do it in any grade and just be like, let's go. We're gonna help your child succeed. Let's see how we can do this.
Yeah.
So,
Can I say one more thing?
of course.
Okay, so this doesn't necessarily have to do with, you know, devices or behavior, but from the perspective of the student, just middle school's really hard because you're going from elementary school where you have like one teacher and one set of homework to like you have like 7 different classes with different expectations and different homework assignments. And for me, I really struggled. And so I keep that in mind when I'm working with students that that's hard. But
Mhm.
yeah, being a student is hard too. Being a parent's hard, being a teacher's hard, being a student's hard. So middle school's just hard all around, you
Well,
know?
being a student that's not paying attention is going to be harder for them when they're trying to do their
Right.
work.
And don't
But,
make excuses, you know, can't
yeah.
be on your phone. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I get it. Middle school is hard. And I always say girls are mean in middle school.
And I experienced that even as a teacher. You think,
Yeah.
you know, that if you're not a student, you wouldn't be subject to it. But I got
Yeah.
like the mean girls going against the teacher.
Yeah.
It was
I worked
rough.
in middle school. I told them never put me back up there again.
You worked in middle school?
Oh yeah, for a little while. And I was like, no, not for me. Send me the
Same.
babies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
precious Casey does not belong in the middle school where they will kill you. That is not
But I'm
nice.
strict. You wouldn't believe it. That's so funny. Hey, Cindy. She said, hey, everyone, kids need parents to totally keep them accountable.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Cindy, we should chat with you sometime. She's been through all of the grades, teaching and
Right.
as a parent.
Right. Yeah, 13. She's probably an
Yes.
expert.
Awesome. All right, ladies, thank you so much for coming. And thank you everyone in the chat. And I think I said hello to Kathy. I'm sorry if I didn't. But we'll see you all next week. Don't know our topic yet. Oh, maybe next week.
It's
What's
right
the
before
holidays?
Christmas. It's Christmas Eve, so maybe not
Christmas
next week.
Eve. Okay,
Yeah.
A
choose.
week from Christmas Eve.
Wait, let me
What was
double
that?
check. Oh, wait, it's the 23rd, so it's Christmas Eve.
23rd. You know, one of our old videos came up where we were throwing the marker, like pretending it was to each other. We should make another one of those. That was so much fun. We'll have to brainstorm that. But Cindy and I threw the marker to each other was the last thing I saw.
Aw, very
All right,
sweet.
everyone. It's great to see you guys, and we'll see you all next week. Bye. Oh, Evelyn, is it gonna work? It did. I
Yeah,
don't think mine has it yet.
thank you.
No, I'm gonna have to get mine to work. Bye, everybody.